And now we return to the delightful, bucolic setting of Martini Mansions, the lovely countryside retreat of Nancy and Krista, where they come across various characters in their particular environment and occasionally friends from the theatre world. Please settle in, grab yourself a martini, as I'm sure Nancy and Krista are, and enjoy this show, a delightful show, and they will be right back.
Hello, welcome back to Martini Mansion.
It's been a long time.
It has. We've had some issues. I mean, not issues.
We have issues constantly.
We do. But we were also in a play.
We were. And it's hard to get people, schedules together.
It
get
is.
people together. So.
It was difficult. And the play took, we started in January.
Yeah.
And then it was in April.
Yeah.
So that's when it finished, was end of April.
And then, of course, the PTSD. We had to.
Then we had PTSD.
Yeah, we had to get. And we had to overcome that.
Yeah. Which we and so the play was called Disaster, and let's just say, in the world of production staffs, it could have been better for us, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The show was good.
Yes. The show was fantastic. The cast stepped up. And speaking of the cast, we have one of the people that was in the cast, Roger.
Hi.
Yeah. So Roger was, how many parts did you play? So Disaster, the premise of Disaster, what was the premise?
So it was supposed to be all about like the 1970s disaster movies, like Poseidon Adventure, Towering Inferno. They had...
Yeah, I called it a parody of 70s disasters movies.
That's perfect.
Yes.
That's a perfect way to... So yeah, you think of, there was rats in it. Fake rats, obviously.
They had Jaws, which is
Jaws,
sharks, rats, fire, earthquake.
Well, the earthquake, the
tsunami, the tidal wave.
The tidal
wave.
with the boat capsizing and stuff like that. So.
Very 70s. Yeah.
Yes. The boat capsizing.
Yeah. And then all the music from the 70s.
The music was, which was, I thought it was going to be easier but there was little offshoots. Like when you hear something on a radio and then, but in the Broadway play, they would kind of change it a little bit, right? I mean, not the song or not the vocals, but they would kind of change. Like you're going to sing this part higher or this part. That was difficult.
What I found, because I too went into it thinking, oh, this is going to be easy musically, and I minored in voice in college, so I have a musical background. And when I got there and we started rehearsing the music, I thought this music is hard. The harmonies were difficult.
Yeah, it was really,
it was high,
and there wasn't a lot of men. Yeah, and so.
Roger was the one, the only one, because he was like in the ensemble. So then the other gentlemen who were in the show were like, we were all sort of like leads, but it was principal players, right? So of course, when it called to like the ensemble male, Roger would raise it. Okay, it's just me, who has to do all these. Different things that you have to do. So,
and back to your original question, I was cast in the ensemble. At the first rehearsal, they asked me to read one part, and I remember the director saying, "Maybe you'll keep that part, maybe you won't." And I was like, "What? What does that mean?" And no one ever told me, "Yes, you're keeping the part," or "No, you're not keeping the part."
Yeah. And
then somebody quit the show.
Yes. Yep.
And they said, "Can you do that part for this one scene?" But not in the second act.
So how many parts did you end up having?
I think if on stage there was just like two.
Okay.
There was the Jake the bodyguard.
Right. Yep.
And then the wealthy husband.
Okay.
But then I was the offstage voice for a couple other things too.
Yes.
And then there was the ensemble.
And then there was the ensemble, which was every dance number. And
actually, the ensemble wasn't just about every number. There was very few numbers that the ensemble didn't do some sort of background.
Oh, either dancing or singing. Absolutely.
Right.
Throughout the whole show.
That's true. So now this is when we first met you. So, and Nancy and I mean, you've been around in Westfield Theater
since 2005.
Yeah, and mine was like 2000.
When was that? The Christmas one?
And I don't know. It was before that because I was in Murder by Indecision.
Oh, and I wasn't in that one. Right.
But Roger was never there. So this was fantastic because we got to meet you.
And we always have a person.
Well, I'm going to let you in a little secret I didn't share during the show.
Okay. Uh-oh.
I was actually cast in a Westfield Theater production probably about 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
And I ended up quitting it. I can't remember why I quit it. One of my dear friends from college was the male lead. I was the second male lead. And I don't remember why I had to quit.
Did he do shows after that in Westfield? Nope. That was the only one.
He moved to New York.
Okay.
He didn't pursue theater.
Yeah.
And he has an amazingly gorgeous voice, like natural. Like I really have to work at my voice. He just has it. So he was Curly. I was.
I don't know the other one.
Ado Annie is the girlfriend.
Yeah, that's what I was
Will.
saying. Oh,
I think his name is. And it was a great part, and I just don't know why. I can't remember why I had.
Were you living around here?
I was living in Springfield.
Okay.
And I actually came to see the show, of course. And at the time, it was around the a tornado happened somewhere, and the 50-50 raffle happened, and I won.
Wow.
And I didn't. And I said to because I think my sister was with me.
Yeah.
No, his sister was with me, and I said, "You have to claim it," because I had quit the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you don't want to be up there saying, "I could have done so much better."
And she was
shake
like,
that money,
she wouldn't
man.
do it. So, but a tornado had happened, and the group announced we're donating our half to the victims of the tornado. So I stood up and just went, "You can donate my half too." And
oh, that's nice.
So
that's funny.
And when I moved to Westfield, I got on your website because I was like, it's so convenient.
Yeah.
As I get older, we can get into my history of theater a little while. I worked a lot with theaters in the Enfield area, and I was just like the drive during the winter, which is when most shows happen, rehearsal wise, and I'm like, after a long day at work, it was just like, this is just so convenient for me. So I got on your website and I signed up to get email notices.
Right.
3 times, never got one email notice. And I'm like, am I on a list?
No, they don't. No,
because I quit 30 years ago.
Yeah, but I did the same thing. I don't think Westfield sends them because I get them from Exit 7. I get them from East Hampton.
Somebody told me that the email address goes to an old board member who's no longer involved with the group anymore. I'm like,
but I don't think they even send out emails for audition notices.
Because Suffield sends them out.
Right,
I
get them
I get them all the time.
Oh, me too.
I get them, and not these guys.
Westfield used to do it at one point when I first started, and I did my very first one was just like a little 1-act play, and then I signed up, and then they would send you audition notices just like some of the other theaters. Right. But then after that, maybe like you said, the other person was no longer there, and it went to someplace else. I don't really know. There hasn't been email notifications sent out in years.
So you were not on a list. So and you're definitely not now.
So, and then every time I check the website, the auditions had just happened. Like, I'm like, I just missed them.
Yeah.
I just missed them. Like, 1776 that was done. I'm like, that would have been perfect. They needed men for that.
I know.
Men for that.
You know what? I'll bring that up on Monday because I'm having the board meeting on Monday and asking them again about something like sending out audition notices via... Because you can have, right in your website, you can say, do you want to sign it? Like, I don't know.
It does say that on your website.
It does. Okay. Oh, it does?
Yes.
Well, then I'll say, where's it going to?
And there's an email address there.
And why aren't we sending out emails to people for audition notices? I mean, you worry about getting people to come to auditions. Right. This is like a perfect way.
Audiences. That's how you tell your audiences what show's going up.
True.
Here's the link to buy tickets.
Right.
Well, now, was it the Westfield Women's Club website or the Westfield
Theater
Group? Oh, it was. Okay. All right. Yeah. So
I'll check that out actually before tomorrow's.
Because they revamped a couple years ago so you could actually choose your seat. Before that, it was all general admission, which I think is awesome. I love the fact you can choose your own seat like other theaters.
Yeah.
Well, because a lot of times people
I was like
the older people didn't know how now they don't know how to use the computer. So what people would do, they'd call up the telephone and say, "Oh, I want tickets to this night, blah blah blah," and then we'd have to have someone from the theater group call or from the board call back, write everything down. I mean, this is so much easier. You don't have to worry. Right. It's either you walk in and you buy your ticket, or you do it online and you can pick your seat.
Yeah, and you can pick your seat, and then I mean. So now, how did you? So you said you were mostly in the Enfield area, but when did you start? Was it in college or high school?
Okay, so in junior high school, and it was called junior high school when I went to junior high. It was not middle school.
That's true.
And it was 7th through 9th grade, but you could opt to go to the high school for 9th grade.
Oh.
So in 7th grade, they had a music teacher there who was fairly young, and he was doing Oklahoma.
Oh, how funny.
I auditioned, but they didn't let 7th graders have parts.
Oh.
So we were considered the offstage chorus. So we sat in the pit with the pit orchestra and sang all the chorus parts.
Oh, okay.
And so then I got the bug.
Yeah.
That totally,
It's so
because
easy.
I went to the library and got the records out.
Yeah.
Made tapes of the record.
Yeah. But it's so easy to get the bug. I mean,
Right.
for me not to do a show and automatically go, oh, I'm going to go audition. It takes a lot, and I do think that Disaster. There's a lot of people that I heard that I'm taking a break from theater because it was such a difficult production team to work with. For some of them. I mean,
I've had to
obviously
revamp my thinking about it as
I mean,
I've gotten older.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so in 8th grade they did South Pacific.
Oh, that's a
I
great
got
show.
A featured role. It was a non-singing role. My voice hadn't changed yet.
Oh, that's so funny.
So I was in like the select groups, but I was an alto.
Oh.
Or what they call the contratenor.
Yeah.
Is that what they call it?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Wow, that's neat.
But I was a strong singer, and Mark Todd led the select choral groups too. And then he moved to the high school. But I wanted to stay in 9th grade at junior high because then you're the big man on campus.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. You worked your way to get up there.
We didn't do a
I
musical
agree.
in 9th grade. In 10th grade, they did Hello Dolly at the high school. I got in the chorus, and I did it. And then they didn't do another musical after that. I went to high school in Springfield. I went to classical high school, which is now condominiums. I was in the last graduating class in 1986.
Oh,
They
it's
saved the
Springfield.
best for last.
Yeah, Springfield. Yeah.
That was our little slogan.
Roger's gone, so, let's shut it down.
I remember
then-
when they shut that down too. I remember that.
But the bug was still there. It was disappointing that they didn't do it. It was just too expensive. We didn't have the money.
Yeah.
I still got, theater was a class. It was my homeroom and it was also a class. So I still got to do theater. I still got to do the select vocal groups. Those were classes as well.
Did they do plays? Because
Our drama group did.
Yes. Okay.
So I still kept doing plays and I learned a lot.
Oh, good.
And then I always say my senior year, I totally got senioritis, and that's where I started getting more confidence.
Right.
And that allowed me to learn more so that I could get better parts. In college, I went to Westfield State.
Yep, me too.
They had
Woohoo.
MTG, the Musical Theater Guild, which was totally student run.
Oh.
And they did a musical every semester. And I lived off campus. I lived at home. So I didn't do the first year. I didn't do any, but all my friends did. And they were like, you have to come. At that point, I was a special ed major. Then I switched my major to music. And then I started doing the musicals there. And that was when I first directed, was in college.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
My senior year, I directed Guys and Dolls. Totally got the bug. So.
And now, have you been to the new theater that they rebuilt?
No.
Oh, so we went there for Owen's operetta. Remember the rat?
Oh, yes.
Well, I just say it the English version because it's isn't it in French or Italian? It's called something else.
It is.
But
yes.
and that because I remember the old theater when I was a freshman. You go there and this and that.
Dever Auditorium.
Yeah. So it's still
Well, it is an auditorium.
It's still the auditorium there, but it's just completely redone, and it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It
in
is.
there.
So they have
Yeah.
little side stages. They have. I mean, it's gorgeous.
that's
I walked in. I said, "Holy cow!" It's this little.
And I thought it was
really
funny
nice.
because the people, I think Owen was, because he was,
he was a prime character.
he was, and they invited him back because he was an alumni or something
Yeah.
like that. But he said that all the people who are either majoring in music or something have to do a show.
Oh.
They have to do it.
They have
yeah.
to do it because we're watching,
Oh,
and these people are just
some people.
their mouth.
They-
They couldn't. I don't think they were even singing. Half of them were just looked like they were very.
I
They
don't
had
want
to
be
do
here.
it. They didn't want to be there.
I'm going. If you're then why are you
in
doing
this?
it? Then why are you doing? Of course, then again, if you play an instrument for some, I don't even know what the rule was, but there was at least 3 or 4 people. And I
You
said
could just tell they did not want to
they
be
didn't
there.
want to be there.
No.
They had no idea.
Although maybe some people who do music, they don't want to do plays. Do you know what I mean? They're not an
And there's
acting person.
So when I switched my major to music, which I ended up with a minor in music, I had a voice teacher who was very anti-musical theater. She was very pro-opera.
Oh.
She loved me because I was a hard worker, but at my first lesson, she said to me, well, you'll never be a dramatic tenor. And I was like, well, that's okay. I don't want to be.
Yeah.
And she would come see every musical I did and tell me how wonderful I was.
Oh, that's
And
great.
she did an opera every semester. We weren't required to be in it, but it was kind of expected you would audition if you were a student, and I never did. But you know what she would say to me? Every semester, Roger, I have the perfect role for you in the opera. It's the silent part. Because she thought I was a good actor, but I didn't have the dramatic tenor voice to carry it. And it was a small music department, so they had like their four. They had their best bass, their best tenor, their best soprano, and they were all good. And I was friends with all of them. And one of them was the friend who moved to New York, actually. Yeah. So, and then I was required to do one. It was called The Mall and the Night Visitors, and it's basically a Christmas operetta about the three wise men coming to the crash. Well,
that's cool.
And it's a fun, cute little opera, but I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I was probably one of those guys, and I was just in the chorus. And I shouldn't say just, but when you're in the chorus, sometimes it's harder than being a lead.
It is.
Yeah, because because leads, they don't need to learn every single thing.
And they don't need to learn harmonies a lot of the time.
No, and that's what people don't understand. Like what you just said, you said, I shouldn't just say just. And I can remember there are some people that, it's a lead or nothing, and I'm going, and I get it, but I have so much more fun in the
I've done so many ensemble parts in
but it's hard work. I mean, you got to learn. You're in all the big numbers. Yeah. You have to make, and someone is watching you in the theater, in the audience.
Well, of course they are,
because for one reason or another, and all the big dances, all the big numbers, all the different harmonies, and we at least had an alto group of like 5 or 6 people, but you were the only tenor.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, because Tyler was amazing.
He was a great musician.
He was really
He didn't know the show well enough.
No.
Well,
from my director's point of view.
Oh, okay.
He's younger, I think, so you know what I mean?
There was a couple times where he said something and we had to correct him, like, we can't do that because of this, what's happening in the show.
Right.
But I don't discredit him for that, because as someone who's such an avid theater person who used to do community theater all the time, community theater was my life, not my job. But we're all volunteers in community theater.
Yes.
So these people, everybody has 9 out of 10 people have a full-time job, families, friends, other things that are happening in life.
And the other ones are students, normally. Right. They're college students or they're high school students.
So, maybe he didn't have time to read the whole script and do a detailed analysis of it.
Maybe not.
Because there was a ton of music in this show, too, in Disaster.
Oh, yeah. And
so much music.
I do like 30-something, maybe more than 30-something
There was so many.
I can't remember.
But it was also hard. I mean, the director of the show was, as we all know, it was difficult, and we won't say who she is, but it was difficult because, like you were saying, you might, this might be your part. Well, I mean, our choreographer, I thought, knew the show
more
better.
Because she's saying he can't do this because he's here, next part or something.
And we were talking about blocking, and we're all sitting down in the theater, and we're going, for blocking, I'm on stage. Right. My brain needs to be on stage. I think everybody in that audience, like in
3 hours, our cast, we just sat there writing in our book.
And we even asked, like, when are we going to get on stage?
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny
that was hard.
I've worked with directors who have done that, where everyone sits down at a table and you write down your blocking, but then you immediately
go
get
up on the stage.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. That's exactly right. Absolutely right.
And see if it works.
Yeah. And I think that's why we
because then you can see it. You have to visualize
it
to see what's actually happening. And things just got changed constantly.
Oh, constantly.
I was told, okay, so now you're going to be over here when Lavora's going to get out because we don't have any people over there. So you and Nick are going to stand over here now. I'm like, oh, that's fine. So we'll just be like gazing like we're looking off the ship or whatever. And then all of a sudden the next time, no, we're not going to have you there anymore.
Right. There was too much changing.
There was so much changing.
Like, that's not what you told me last time. I just want to make sure we're doing it.
And if it only happened,
times
if it only happened once or twice, I would have been like, okay, I get it. Maybe she thought it. But we're talking
the whole
4, 5, 6 times.
It's
every
it was
part
brutal.
Of the show.
And
like
even, not to make this all about me, but we are theater people and we like to do that. Yeah. But even playing Jake and the wealthy husband, at that beginning of Act 2, every other scene I was the other character.
You were.
Yes, that's right. That's why you had your clothes hidden. You had them on the stage.
I was changing so fast backstage.
I don't understand how, because we did have a stage manager.
Sorry.
How
did I just snort out loud?
That's part of the production whole team is you got to know the characters. You have to know how fast they're coming on and off, so that you're actor doesn't get brutalized backstage.
Especially in a theater like at the West.
Because it's small backstage.
Because there is no backstage.
There is no just to have the back. So
well,
having
just from
that
running from left, trying to go back behind the scrim there or whatever, to the right side to try to make your entrance
and
from
we never
that
had
side.
until 1776 that back entrance there that where the stage was you could go back behind it. That wasn't there. It was so much junk back there, but when 1776, the director wanted the orchestra behind the Congress because there were so many of them.
Right.
And so it was a good thing because it
Cleared out the stuff.
We had to clean it back there, which I don't know how we would have done Disaster with the people that we had. There would have been no way.
Because you used to, a lot of times we do a show or whatever, you could go downstairs and sit down for a little while. Yeah. It's like, I got like 15 pages before I have to. Like this show,
because
people were constantly either moving set pieces or going from one character to the other one. Now you got to go completely on the opposite side of the stage to make your entrance from that side. I mean, even when we were doing it, like we'd come out, I'd have to go backstage, run down the stairs, run up the stairs, then come out through the audience, and then come up the stairs onto the stage.
Other thing about the direction. If you have your blocking set, and then you set it with your actors, as the director who can move those set pieces.
Right. And that changed constantly.
Who can do this right now?
Yeah.
So nobody ever knew. No. There were times I went out to move a piece of set and somebody else was like during production, during the show, and I was like, somebody else is moving it.
Oh, me too. Yeah. I'm like, I was clearly on the list to do this, and all of a sudden someone else. I'm like,
I stopped looking at their list.
I did too.
If I could help, I'd help. Right. So it's like, if someone's not,
So, but now you're in Sleepy Hollow.
I am in Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, so that comes out.
Oh, what's your character?
I don't remember the first name.
Yeah.
Is it Knickerbocker?
No, it's Tousle. Von Tousle.
That's right.
I'm Lauren's mother.
Father.
Father, yeah. You can be whatever you want.
That's a different show. That's the off-Broadway version.
No, I want to keep working with Westfield because it is so convenient. Like, I could walk to and from the theater, and I did.
Yeah.
For every rehearsal except one, I walked to and from that theater, even on ice.
Yeah.
I did drive for performances, but that's part of mental health and physical health.
Yeah.
And I went into, you talked before about some people only do leads. For many years, I would only do principal parts, and was able to. I had the talent to. And if there was a show that I couldn't do a principal part in that I felt didn't have a part for me, I would help in some other capacity.
Right.
When I first started doing community theater, I was a stage manager.
Oh, really?
That's the one job I will never want. What's the other one? That and
you don't like the house manager. Well, you do it.
Well, I do it, but that stage manager to me is you have got to be on your game, know that thing back and forth, which we all know we did not have for Disaster.
No, we did
Nancy's
not.
Looking at me with those eyes of like, what did we just go through, Krista?
Well, here's the problem: is that they picked
it's a tough job.
2 people who were incapable to begin with. Why didn't we have originally an actual stage person who could actually, and nothing against the first one who had, a physical handicap or.
Oh, she did. I forgot. Yes,
and
I forgot about.
But you have a stage person who can't move anything,
right?
So why do you have that person?
And it's hard for me to criticize being the newbie.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is sometimes hard to get the backstage people because everybody wants to be a star.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's hard to find people who only want to do the backstage stuff.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
When I started doing it, I had a friend who was a year ahead of me in school. We had done drama together in high school, and she had gotten involved with this group and got me involved with this group. The group is no longer they're defunct, but they very rarely did musicals. They were known for mostly doing plays. And they did really strong stuff and really hard stuff. The few musicals they did, they always picked the cheapest ones to put up.
Yeah.
Pirates of Penzance. No, I'm kidding. That's not it. There's no royalties.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's when I directed again because they did Nonsense.
Oh, okay.
And they asked me to direct it because they knew they could get me cheap because I was very young when I did it.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. Jackie, who was
that's right.
Oh,
yes.
Disaster.
Yeah.
Was in it.
She said you were the best director she's ever had.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from being a stage manager. It's that attention to detail.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
nervous.
you have to.
Yeah.
And some people...
And that's how I work. That's at my job.
Yeah.
That's part of my job. I have to have that attention.
Some people need more attention from a director than others do.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously we had no direction. So, in Disaster. So the good part of the people who were in the cast was there was a bunch of us who were seasoned people who sort of just took it on themselves saying, hey, you know, you read the script, this is my character, I'm going to make it my own, and whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Obviously, you don't go... I mean, if she said something like, oh, you can't do... You know, obviously I would listen that way, but there was really no direction, and you just sort of... Because you have to do it
She
that
told
way.
me and Eden, so one of the parts, and I think that every single show people would ask about, because there was puppets, there was 2 fish. There was more than just 2, but like for puppets, but... And that was the part, I mean, she told me and Eden, my daughter was in it as well, to tone it down with the puppets. And I'm going, no. Like, Eden's
That was
like,
one
oh,
of the
we need to
funniest
tone it
things
down.
about
Of the
it.
puppets
I said,
be-
yeah. And she said, Eden looked at me and she's like, because we were about to go on stage and do it for the next show. And she's like, oh, we got to tone it down. I said, we're not toning anything down. I said,
so you think that sharks on someone's arms aren't overdoing
Yeah,
it? It's like
well,
it's a parody, like you said. It has to be
and
over the top for everything.
yeah,
that
and
you're
people
doing.
would always comment on
They
the
did.
fish.
There was a lot of people like, who
all
are those?
the fish?
Who are the fish?
Who are the fish? And
I have the benefit of knowing Disaster because the guy who wrote Disaster, I listened to Sirius XM on Broadway. Seth Rudetsky.
Yes, love that. I love that show.
I've been hearing about this show for years and years and years. I actually did not see the audition notice for this. A friend of mine whose sister lives in Westfield saw it on some Facebook page or something.
Oh.
And she told me about it. So it was the first time I heard about the auditions before the auditions.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know I was going to audition until I walked into that theater.
Oh, wow.
Like, I had not made up my mind. I told nobody I was going to the auditions because my family and friends loved when I did theater and they could come see it and stuff.
Right.
So if I told them and I didn't get anything. So, as you two know, but it's been... The last show I did was in 2010.
Wow.
So, and it had been a while between the show before that. So, I'm 15 years older. I've aged out of leads.
Depends on the lead.
It depends on the lead, yes. But overall,
yes,
in most musicals,
it's the 35.
It's younger people.
It's a younger person.
So I had to like reframe my whole way of thinking. So I came into this with all I want to do is be in the chorus and have fun.
Yeah,
right.
And then you met us
in the door, and then I met you all, and I did. I kept telling people that know me were like, "So was it what you hoped for?" I said it checked every box that I wanted. And going back to our musical director, my voice never sounded better. It hasn't sounded as good as it did during that show since 2010.
He's such a good, like, you know, I
Because
don't
he's
have
a
a musical
Yes.
background,
That's
but he
why.
helps everybody.
Yeah.
You could be someone who just sings one little part to the person who's the lead who sings, like, whatever. He will help from A to Z people.
He'll get you
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, you know. Like, because he's done other, been musical director or helpers on, I think George was one of the ones.
Well, that's what he
but
was.
he was like he played the keyboards or whatever when we did Little Shop of Horrors. And I had like a little duet that I had to do. And he, you know what I mean? It was like, I said, can I have help? Oh, yeah, come on down. You know, I like a director like that who thinks you're just as important
the music director,
as like the lead person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I love him to death.
And he was,
I mean?
I completely agree. I just remember when he was so nervous, because other musical directors aren't like that. We know of one, you mentioned George, that can be very tough, and he was for 1776. I mean,
he might be he probably is a good music director, but I don't know whether he's actually gone out of his way to like help someone, like, say, who's just in the ensemble.
Right.
I don't really know.
I just remember how nervous Tyler was when he found out
that
George was in the audience.
Yeah.
I mean, he was nervous. He was, and I'm like, well, I
said, you're 100 times more the director.
You're definitely more approachable, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely more approachable.
And I think that's going back to, like, you can be a good and you can be a tough director in community theater, but you have to have that mindset of everyone's here voluntarily, and the point of them doing this voluntarily is they want to do it for fun.
Yeah.
If this isn't being fun for anybody up here, the job is not being done right.
I mean, what's one thing I can say about Sleepy Hollow, Kathy as a director, when she takes the word community and community theater, she takes that to heart. Like, she will put first-time people in the ensemble that have never been on stage, and sometimes you're like, wow, what, you put that person in, but she's like, they're part of the community, and this is, it's one point in time, somebody took a chance on people, and that's part of it. I think her, I like Rob's style of directing. I loved.
I like Kathy's directing.
So do I.
I've obviously been in a lot of her shows, and stuff like that. And she definitely has a vision on how she sees stuff,
100%,
which I like.
Because she
can't
wrote
just
the play.
say go do it.
She wrote it.
Yeah. So which I've actually done Sleepy Hollow before.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. I probably had like just a little minor part, but then in the ensemble, I've always liked the ensemble.
Yeah.
I had so much fun in like the most fun in some of the other ones with the ensemble people.
Well, like you're saying, it's a lot of time.
Fun.
It's a lot of time.
Even though I got extra parts added on and disaster, I had more fun hanging with the ensemble people. And that's not to say I didn't have fun with the leads that I interacted with and everything backstage, on stage, whatever. But you guys were my crew.
Yeah.
And Krista and I talk about this a lot. It's like when we do a show, of course I had already been doing shows, but when she did the first Christmas show, we sort of clicked like right off the bat. So it's always someone we find that though.
Yeah, and then
you sort of levitate to.
Yeah, and then Lauren. And then when we did Arsenic and Old Lace, this Jake, this guy walks in.
Jake.
Nobody knows who he is. Okay, he's an army recruiter now. I think he's coming.
He's in South Korea.
He's in South Korea now.
He's the guy who put Disaster forward, right?
He did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that was another one that he just
came into our fold.
So we're like, oh, okay. So then,
and then Roger,
then now you,
because that was a big cast that we had.
It was, and I have to tell you, the first few rehearsals, I never thought about quitting, but the first few rehearsals, I did feel like this is tough because I'm the odd man out. I felt like, and all community theaters are clicky.
Right. I agree.
I've
been part of the cliques. I know.
Yeah.
So I get it, but it was Jackie, because I had worked with her before, who kept saying to me,
"Oh, she's like us." Yeah.
Once we get really into it, once you get to know these people, you're never going to do a show anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because it's just the people are so nice. And it's truly like a family community, and
it is, but it's not everybody's the whole thing. So it's sort of funny because we lived out because we kept on saying we got to have because we would always go out like on Thursdays after
to the tavern, or we go do something.
And I know we've asked you to go, but like I said,
but we met at the library, went out to breakfast,
which was great.
Which we got to go to the bagel place because we went.
So the funny thing is that we have this like little group, and it's only a certain people.
Oh, yeah, we do not invite.
And then the funniest thing is every time like it started with just us. And during COVID, we still got together and stuff like that.
Like
there would be an ambulance that would go by.
Always,
it was like a weird thing. So it's like, oh my god, it's an ambulance. So we thought that was funny. So then we'd have like someone else come to the tavern with us, and like sometimes it would be other people.
Yeah, and the ambulance wouldn't go by,
and they wouldn't go by. No. They mainly weren't really people that we invited. But
it was sometimes people invited.
But it's like the funny. So then when we get our core back again, here comes the ambulance again. So those are the ones. Those are the ones that are like in our group, and it's not because we're not cliquey.
No,
do you know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you said, definitely have been in theaters that. Like you said, they have their own little thing.
It's not fun.
We're definitely not cliquey people. Do we have our little group of... But we would never, like, exclude anybody or, like... We're not diva people, for one thing.
But even when it comes to casting, most community theaters they won't take the risk with a lead role on someone they've never worked with before.
Yeah, and I think that's super hard.
It happened. So for me, I was working with a group that only did musicals. And I had been trying to get in there for years and could not get cast. So finally, we were doing Bye Bye Birdie. And I got cast in the ensemble. But a dear friend of mine was also in the ensemble. So I agreed to do it. And I was really about to quit that show because I was the oldest person in the ensemble because it was all teenagers. Yeah. I was probably 26, 27 at the time. I have a young-looking face. I know you all can't see me. And I had hair back then, so I looked even younger. So it's not that I didn't physically fit in by the look, but I was just like, there's no connection. These
Right.
are teenagers. I'm an adult. I've gone through college. I have a job, and the guy playing Birdie quit, and I was the only member in the male ensemble who could sing it.
Oh, so you got that.
So they said, "Would you try it?" And I did, and the group was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing that, you have auditions for a reason. So, especially for musicals, you usually have your musical director there,
Right.
and the regular director there. So if you have someone, like, I don't agree with that they shouldn't cast somebody. I do not like
When they do that.
when they cast the same, well, this person played it the last time, so
Oh,
we're gonna,
yeah. We don't like that.
we won't get into that.
No,
'cause
we won't get into that.
that they're, he did it the last time, so we're just going to put him in the same role. I don't like that. Do you know what I mean? And being me, I'm going to be 64. Where are the leads for me also? This Shirley one was perfect in Disaster.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Because actually she's supposed to be 50 and think I look younger, because Nick, I think, is like 10 years younger than I am.
Yeah.
But I don't think we
it
didn't.
wasn't on at all.
No, you guys weren't. No, there was
It wasn't
no,
obvious
no
like
math
I was like so
added
much
thing on
older
that.
than
Yeah.
he was. But you're absolutely right. It sort of bothers me that if you see, or hear, give them like you said, that part I do not like when they do that. Oh, well, they were in it the last time, so we're just going to give it to them again.
And there's a little bit of politic in it though too.
Absolutely,
because
there
you
is.
don't want to ostracize your diehard members.
You got it. There's definitely, it's a tiptoe, right? I mean,
Yes.
so if there's more, because in Disaster there really wasn't one lead. I mean, there was 6.
For me, and
There
Warren
was
said the
6.
same thing, that actually it was all the leads or major were all ensemble. It was an ensemble lead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, but normally how they have you come out for your bows, like technically how I always take it, they thought that Tom, Jackie, and who's Macaulay? Heather were the leads. Right. Because they came out last.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying?
But technically,
because that's normally how that works.
And
like
there were 4 other people were really the leads. I mean, you guys. Yeah. There was those 3 plus 4 other people.
Yeah, I disagreed with the bows.
Yeah.
Completely.
Like Lauren said that all of us should have came out at once.
I agree.
And taken a bow.
Or one at a time. No, even I still think you're right. All at once.
And then each of us take a bow out there.
Now, is there a role that you if that play came up, like your bucket list role?
Bucket list.
What would your role be?
Okay,
like a bucket list.
I think
role?
I'm too old to play it now. Although the guy who played it in the recent revival on Broadway is my age, but he played it about 4 or 5 years ago, I think now. So the baker in Into the Woods.
Oh,
is my dream.
Oh, okay.
Role.
They did Into the Woods.
Yeah, they did do Into the Woods. Exit 7.
I heard that was a hard one to get into.
It's a very...
No, I'm just talking about the people trying to get
100 people showed up for the audition.
Right, so
it was crazy.
Stephen Sondheim has like this incredible diehard fan base if you're in musical theater. I'm one of them. I think he's a brilliant composer, lyricist, genius level. But I think he also writes for the actor. And I'm someone who always say I'd rather see someone sing okay, but really play the role and sing the song in character.
Yep.
Than someone who can just sing pretty but can't act at all.
Yep, I agree.
And I bring up so years ago, I'm not gonna remember the name of the TV show. Ed McMahon hosted the talent show.
Oh yeah, America's Got Talent.
No.
Star something.
Star Search.
Star Search.
And there was a woman who came on as a vocalist, and her name is Linda Eder. I highly recommend getting any of her music if you can. When I played her CDs, I lived with my grandmother for a while, and my cousin, and they would say to me, "We didn't know Barbra Streisand had a new album out," and it was Linda Eder.
Wow.
The woman has an amazing voice. She ended up she got 4 stars every week. She was in the first week and made it all the way to the end.
Oh my gosh!
1 week she got 3 stars. The rest of them she got 4.
Wow.
And her husband writes musicals. All his musicals flop all over the place, and I don't know why. Some of the music is really good. But he did Jekyll and Hyde, which was on Broadway.
Yeah.
But he wrote the part for her, and she actually took it to Broadway, and it flopped. There was a revival where Constantine Morales, who won The Voice, and another pop star did it, and that had a little bit more success.
Well, Jekyll and Hyde, that's actually, because I think Exit 7 actually did Jekyll and Hyde.
Possibly. So she did the lead, and they took it on tour before they brought it to Broadway, and it came to Hartford, and I was so excited that I got to see Linda Eder live.
Wow.
She was horrible.
Really?
She couldn't act. She
could
sell us
act.
like nobody's
Act.
business.
I know, I get it, yeah.
For her solos,
Yeah.
it was amazing because they would put a spotlight on her face and she would sing her solo and she would sell that number like nobody's business. But for all the group numbers and the duets, and she was so stiff and I was like, see, this is I'd rather see a good actor in the role.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm not the best. I don't think I'm terrible, but I'm not one of the best singers. But I can definitely act. I mean,
right.
So like my Shirley part. Like people like in the audience were like, of course they laugh when I'm smacking my head, but they're like, how do you go from like, and then all of a sudden turn around and like crying? Like I always find myself I would rather do dramatic.
So I like
shows.
plays. I like being in it because I
dramatic
know I don't have a voice. I know I'm an ensemble person for sure.
I don't think there should be. I think they're all plays. Musicals are just plays with music.
Yeah, I agree.
If it's done well, it's as good as a play.
Right.
Oh, 100%. There are some people, though, that they're like, no, I'm only going to go to a musical. Right. I don't like plays. I don't, either one is, I like going to see either one, quite honestly.
I'll go see either one.
Yeah.
But for a long time, I was one of those, I'll only do musicals. Because I like to sing.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But
you also had this, and that's what I was going to say.
But, like I said before, I always had to work at it. There were very few plays where I was the lead. I was always the second lead.
Yep, the supportive. The supportive, yeah, I know what you mean.
Or the comedy.
Yeah. I like being, because when we were the cops in Our Sick and Old Ways, we were the comedy. And I love, that is the role, and probably a lot of people love it too. I am very slapstick. I love the comedy role. I love all that.
And then she would just be like, we're sitting on the couch, of course, the director who we love, Stuart.
Yeah, the Stuart
was probably one of my favorite directors,
phenomenal.
And I actually auditioned for the lead. So, because Carol Palmer, who was also a redhead,
mine's worked with Carol many years ago as a stage manager.
So I just said it would be sort of funny, of course mine's bottled red, but like having the two sisters, the aunts or whatever, both have the red hair. I said, that would be sort of funny, like the two sisters.
Who was the other sister?
I didn't know her. She was
Kim.
Kim somebody.
Kim, yeah.
So then Stuart called up and he's like, he goes, I hope you won't be offended, but I wanted to know if you would be willing to be one of the male cops. And I'm like, hell yeah.
It's a great...
He goes, I'm going to have you and Krista. I'm like, oh, are you serious? I'm thinking, but like to actually play a different... Right. Even gender or whatever. I'm thinking,
because he wanted men. He wanted men cops.
But we don't get a lot of guys who audition for stuff anyways.
No, but that's the way he wanted them played was men. Like we couldn't be female cops.
Oh no, they had to be men.
That was half the fun.
But that was
it was just so much fun. It's harder to make people laugh than it is to make people cry.
Really?
It's a well-known theater trope.
Oh, I didn't know
that.
It's
much harder to make people laugh than it is to make people cry.
Oh, now did you go see Nutcrackers in Westfield?
No, I've not seen anything in Westfield.
Oh, okay, so Paul Nesbitt as what the heck was
Julia Child? He was like.
I have never. I have never laughed so hard. In Westfield
he was
theater.
So perfect.
Sister Julia, Child of God.
Yes,
I was literally. I was holding my. I could not stop laughing.
I almost peed myself. I think he was just like so.
For
funny.
me to laugh like that is very like something like a chuckle, like ha ha, But for me that was. I mean, the audience was just over the moon with that one, and I still to this day I'm like, that was the only performance that I've ever actually laughed. Where I can't even catch my breath in Westfield.
I know.
It
was really good.
The favorite role I've ever played was that type of thing where I made the audience laugh, probably to the detriment of the leads.
Oh, so that to me...
I found the character that just clicked with me, and it was nicely.
I agree.
Guys and Dolls.
Yes!
It was perfect. My voice was in perfect shape. The guy who was cast to play Benny opposite me ended up quitting, and I was very disappointed. It was somebody who I had worked with before. He was a director, and I think he quit because he was intimidated by my voice.
Oh, that's terrible.
So
I mean, that's not your fault.
Right.
Yeah.
So the guy who ended up playing it was actually a kid in high school, had actually auditioned for Nicely Nicely. But he kind of like looked to me to take him under my wing because there was such an age difference between us. So we had fun with it.
Right.
And he was much more of a risk taker.
Yeah. But it's sort of nice when, like
you
said,
can
with Kristen and I being
but
there.
But hearing the audience laugh at me like that, knowing that I'm hitting every note of the character.
Yeah.
Not musically, but every note of the character. Like, I mean, simple little things. Like I said, every time I walk out on this stage, because typically Nicely Nicely is played as a heavy man because the original was Stubby K. He was a heavy man.
Yep.
I've always been heavy. So I'm like, I'm going to lean into it for this character. I actually had just lost like 50 pounds because the part I played before it, I wanted to be really skinny, and I had lost a lot of weight. Yeah. But I was never ever skinny since like I was 4 years old. So I'm like, every time I walk on a stage, I want a different piece of food in my hand.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
That's a great idea.
The costumer hated me because I could never finish everything because I would have to go into the song or into the full scene, and I would just put it in the pocket of my and sometimes I had like apple Danish, chocolate chip cookies, sometimes it was popcorn.
Oh my God.
And she's like, I have to wash your jacket.
That's the number one rule. No eating in your costume.
I know, but let's
part of the
That's hilarious, though.
I want to say thank you for coming on here. I mean, we took a break for a little bit with our podcast, and I do think it was a good thing because we getting people together is very difficult. Yeah. And I will be.
And sometimes when it's like forced,
when it's I know we can't.
It's not as much fun.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? So
I was just talking with somebody the other day. I feel like since COVID, getting people together has become harder.
I think so. I
have found this in many aspects of my life. Family, friends.
Busy.
Right. So everyone's busy with different schedules.
I just feel like people feel like we took that break.
Yeah.
And people feel like now they have to like catch up with their lives. And I've kind of taken the opposite of...
We've never done that.
No, we've never
we need to enjoy life. And not be crazy with life.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's. I mean, we. So I.
Which is why I want to get back to community theater.
Yes. So that's theater, Roger. So we have Roger, my husband, Roger, and this is theater, Roger. That's how I know so many Rogers.
Theater
that's how
Roger,
I break that. That's how I segregate them all. And but husband Roger, he gets very nervous around being like for him to go to Lauren's barbecue. That was big for him. That was big because he's used to being, okay. It's and a couple of our friends said a couple weeks ago, they're like, "You guys are the most busiest people." And I look at Roger, I'm like, "Are we really that busy?" He goes, "You are," because you're always doing something. Because you are, but we're always have something planned. Most of the time, it's him and I, like, we're on a boat,
But it's the two of you. And like you said, a lot of people probably are just wanting just to, like you say.
The two. Yeah.
I also, personally, I feel like COVID hurt me in that I tend to be more timid around crowds. So
I'm timid. I am very timid around crowds.
I used to go to New York 4 times a year. I haven't been to New York since before COVID, and that's like my next goal is to get back to New York.
Right.
Yeah.
My first goal was getting back in community theater, which I've done.
I know we had talked about going to see a show in New York, or even going to the Bushnell, which is, we went to the Bushnell to see Hamilton, which. You
didn't like it?
We didn't like it. We didn't. Okay,
I don't speak jive.
I couldn't understand. They sing so fast.
So at first I heard the rap. They started with the rap, and I'm like,
I didn't understand.
All right, But then it was like rap, and I'm like,
we don't know the songs.
Because we didn't know the songs. I didn't know the show, so that was a big difference.
That was huge.
The show was phenomenal. I'm not saying that the voices were great, the dancers were great.
The women's voices were
we liked the King because
The King was my favorite because he made us laugh.
I would say if anybody did Hamilton, that's the part I'd want to play.
Yes,
the King.
Yes,
he sang normal. We could understand.
I just didn't.
Like I said, we liked it, but we didn't understand.
But I find that with most musicals, even like Oklahoma, let's say. If I go to see it on Broadway, if I've not heard the music at all before, I miss a lot in the singing and the chorus.
Yeah. Right. Now, they had played, I didn't know this because we didn't have the Disney Channel and I don't have young kids anymore, but they had played Hamilton like
it's still on there.
Constantly.
You can watch it.
Yeah, constantly. And it's always on there. So I had younger friends that have kids that are like 4 or 5, maybe or whatever, or 6 or 7, and they're like, oh yeah, we know all the music. We know it all. How did you not know the music? And I'm going,
well, because you don't hear, like you said, I'm not on that station. I wasn't familiar with Hamilton. Obviously I knew, but I'm not out like listening to it on my own.
Style. It's very fast.
It's very fast.
And I could not understand
it.
And it's coming through a microphone, and yes,
and we're looking at each other like.
I was like,
I think our mouth was up. It's like.
I know. I said, oh my God.
Because my sister and I used to argue about this when she and I used to go to New York more. And she wouldn't want to hear the music. She'd want to go in and have it be a new experience for her. And I always would get the recording first and listen to the music.
Yeah.
Twofold. First of all, it helps me understand what they're saying,
right?
Yeah.
Because I may not understand it live,
right?
And B, I like to direct in my head and then compare it to what they've done on Broadway, and go, "Oh, I would have done that too," or "Oh, I would have done that." Oh, that's better than what I would have done.
Yeah, I think that was a really good lesson, at least for me, is that if I'm not familiar with that show, then we should look it up. We should look it up. I know. We just didn't.
Especially nowadays, because you could probably it's on the Disney Plus channel, and I do have Disney Plus as part of my Hulu Disney Plus.
Yeah, now I have it. I do have it now.
Also on there is the West End version of Frozen.
Oh wow!
The Broadway version of Newsies.
Oh, Newsies. I like Newsies.
And I think there's one other musical on there. Like where they filmed the stage production.
Yeah.
There's some movie musicals like Freaky Friday they made into a musical, and then they made it into a movie musical.
Oh, and then the other one that Death Becomes Her.
Yes, Death Becomes Her was it.
And now they have a musical. Yeah.
So a co-worker of mine who goes to New York quite often, his daughter is about to go to college and she hopes to major in musical theater. They went as a family to New York and just got tickets to Death Becomes Her. And he wasn't a huge fan of the show, but we were talking about it. And I don't have a CD player anymore, so I don't buy recordings anymore, and I don't really do this whole Spotify, so it's basically my Broadway station. So I've only heard some of the music. They built so high in that show. I'm like, first of all, you've made this impossible for community theaters to do because there's too many special effects.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I like the movie, though.
I heard,
the movie was hysterical.
It was hilarious.
I heard the set and the special effects were amazing, but if that's the whole show.
Right. You limit community theaters.
Well, you can't.
There are some community theaters in some areas that have money, and they can do stuff.
Yeah, they can.
That's not us.
I don't think it's Westfield. I don't think it's Westfield.
We couldn't even get a chandelier to drop.
Like I've seen one scene where one of the female characters comes in and she's got a hole in her stomach.
Yeah.
In a stage play.
Wow.
And there's smoke coming out of it.
That's so cool.
And she goes, and she says something like, well, it's either that sucks or that was effed up. I can't remember.
Yeah, yeah.
And it gets a big laugh. And I'm like, how, as a director, I'm looking at going, how would I do that? I don't know.
I was shocked how we did the whole thing with this until I saw it. Like how what's his name? The kid that got the handle to the thing through his stomach. I mean, it for disaster, but but we didn't have a chandelier for months. Ever. And
it's kind of like doing Phantom of the Opera without chandelier.
That's what I was going to say. That's like the big thing. So, yeah, that was not even a disco ball.
It's not like it was a big production or anything.
I know. All right, we're going to wrap it up. So, I don't want to cut you off.
But let me say, you took a break, and I'm honored to be the first one to be on
We
this
did,
show.
yes.
We love you.
Break. Thank you. Thank you for making this so easy. I was nervous coming in thinking, I'm going to be boring.
No.
This was just a conversation with friends about a topic we all love. So this was great. Thank you.
So, and I downloaded all these sound effects. So, now this is the one I wanted to use for you.
Roger.
And I bow.
Yes.
And I bow.
Thank you so much, and we love you. And we're definitely coming to see you in Sleepy Hollow. I think you're doing.
I'll be downstairs all 5 shows.
Doing direct house
manager.
Cool. Yeah. And I'll be directing 2 shows in December.
Oh yeah.
And the auditions are coming out. I think at the end of August.
Yeah.
So, 2 1 acts. Yeah.
I don't.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.